that door, they try to get out, and someone comes by speeding, knocks them straight to the ground and killed them. This is what happened to this young lady, and I was very, very distressed, very disappointed. And I said, I'm going to take every precautionary measure from here on out. I am not going to drive with anybody who will let me out on the passenger side into the street. I'm not going through that. I would rather walk, because you don't know when a tragedy is going to strike. It comes without warning, Bahamians, just like emergencies. The other day, there was an emergency in my family. My sister called me, and I had to act on it right away. Emergencies come up when you least expect it. Tragedies come up when you least expect it. But you have to exercise caution and restraint. And I think the lady meant well, and perhaps the driver meant well. But please, drivers, let your passengers out on the inside. Even if you have to turn around and let them out, well, then do that. This young lady lost her life because of the carelessness of somebody else. And I'm very disturbed over that when I heard it. And I said, I'm going to take precautionary measures from here on out. Bahamians, we have to learn from these terrible things that happen. And sometimes I wonder if we are learning anything. Are we understanding that we ought to exercise caution and restraint? Even you got to tell the driver. He may not be thinking, she may not be thinking. Do not let them let you out on the passenger side into the road where someone could come and hit you. And then all of a sudden you're seriously injured or you're dead. In this case, the lady passed. And that's very sad. We have to take precautionary measures because we have careless people on the streets, people cutting in, cutting out, drivers driving recklessly on the streets. We do not have enough police participation to deal with these wicked personalities who are constantly cutting in and driving out. I see it all the time. And I said it is something we need to deal with. The roads are bad enough. I can talk about the roads and the lighting. I come into that later in the show. But be that as it may, Bahamians, we are losing, I think they mentioned the number she was that passed. I think it was maybe, was it 40-something or whatever the number was. But just losing a young life just like that, it's a tragedy for that family. We have to pray for that family. That means National Insurance has lost one person. You see how this goes? A waking woman, a woman contributing to the National Insurance Fund. Now that is dead. That's how quick we're losing our waking population. And National Insurance need to pay attention to that. You may be saying that Bahamian families are not having enough children, but we are losing our waking population through accidents, or what are called accidents, through murders, through stabbings, through shootings, where they have to lay up in the hospital, and you know how long they're going to be there, for months, for years. But they're not waking, they're not producing, they're not making any significant achievement for the country because they're sick and they have to be taken care of. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be taken care of. But there are too many things that are happening in this country that ought not to happen because of the carelessness of our people. So as young as I am, I'm taking precautionary measures. And I decided to do that today. And I'm not going to let up on it one iota for nobody. I don't care who you are or who you think you are. Because I've found out that there are times people just forget, they have a lapse of memory, they don't remember, they don't understand, they forget, they have all kinds of pressure on them. And particularly with older citizens in the society. And this was a relatively young person. And she is gone. A mother is lost. And she probably may have some children. And those young children don't have a mother. I hope they have a father. Of course, you know Father's Day is on Sunday. You got to talk about Father's Day today. Because Bahamians, we have some things we got to work on. These accidents that are constantly happening over and over and over and over again, and we're losing lives, Bahamians. How many more lives can we lose through accidents? Zero. Zilch. None. We can't afford that. The losses right now are too heavy. Now, I know a lot of stress is on a lot of you out there, because it's on me too. So I'm a part of this stress. The Constitution says my life is not supposed to be suffered by deprivation. And there are some things I am being deprived of, not because of anything that I may have done, but there are some things that are happening to us that we just have no control over. It is against constitutional law to suffer deprivation. You're suffering from deprivation because of something you're being deprived of, or some things you're being deprived of, making your life miserable and unhappy. And that's the road works. Of course, the Minister of Works was talking about that, the Honorable Clay Sweeting. And all these improvements to the roads and the road works that happened way back then, and these roads don't seem to be last long enough. Why can't we have some strong road works put down? Because the cheap tar they put down don't last long. So they're constantly giving out contracts to people to put the cheapness down, and we just keep wasting money. When you lay that road down, that should be there for the next 50 years. You ain't got to worry about taking that up anymore. Why don't we get the kind of material that can last for half a century? Then we ain't got to worry about digging that up anymore. We put the markers on. We don't even have proper markings on these streets. You don't know how far over the left you should be because there are no markers. There are no reflectors on the left-hand side. There are none in the middle of the road. There are none on the other side of the road. So you could see how you're going. I know in the United States, when I used to drive over there, for miles, many miles, it's just like the road was lit right up like day. They have reflectors for miles and miles and miles, and you would think the street light right up. But the reflectors light up as your light from the car hits the reflectors. You could see as clear as crystal. Not on these roads. I mean, the poor lighting that's out there, I was out there last night, the lighting is extremely poor. For those of you who have good sight, I thank God for you. Those of us who are not able to see as well as those who have better sight, you can't afford to drive in the night because you could get in a serious car accident, injure yourself, or even kill yourself or kill somebody else as well. The lighting on New Providence is extremely poor, except in a few areas where they have proper lighting. And that is very, very small. On the main highways, on one side they got light, or certain intervals along the highway, you got one light here, one light there. But there's no proper lighting, Bahamian. That contributes to accidents. That contributes to criminal activity. People love darkness because their deeds are evil. Do the authorities understand that? Do they know that? We got to tell them, remind them, Bahamians. We got to tell our representatives. I heard someone talking about local government. I can speak to that too, because we don't have no local government on New Providence. What we do have are a lot of committees appointed by the Prime Minister to do some things. Now they got one next committee they can put up now, say they're taking care of these children who are out of control of 14 years old and older, maybe 14 to 19. They can have a boarding school for these male children who are out of control. They're going to try to put some discipline in them. I don't know how many programs they want to create for these children, but I have some challenges with that. Because according to scripture, parents are to be responsible for their children. If the government of the Bahamas is going to take on every wayward child in this country, we're going to have more problems than ever before. That's not the way it should be. I'm not saying the government shouldn't do anything, so don't misunderstand me. It is the responsibility of parents, you who have these children. You lay down and have sex and bring children into the world, you have to be responsible for your children. But people are doing that and getting away with it by having a multitude of children. Of course, they say families are not big enough, but these children are out of wedlock. They ain't got no proper parental control. I was never brought up in that kind of environment. I don't know what it is to be without a mother and father. Mommy and daddy were always there, day and night, as young as I am, until they decided they're going to make their exit. And I still try to remember what my father was trying to tell me when I saw him for the last time. I got to wait until the first resurrection so I could ask him. But he was trying to tell me something, and I could not figure out what is Daddy trying to tell me, because he was not able to speak. He just made signs. And he's a good father, right to the very end. We need men like him in this country today. We don't have too many of them. Even with my own relatives, we see a cracking up with the males in the family, and then the generation coming after us, the generation coming after them, the generation coming after them. You see a weakening, extremely weak males emerging. They do not have a strong working relationship with the senior males in the family. They just don't. That's not just in my family, it's these other families too. I've been watching this trend for some time. Now, there one or two are struggling with it, yes. Because the forces of wickedness and corruption are against the fathers, and of course Father's Day is on Sunday. And they will continue to pull down the fathers and call them no good and say all manner of things against the fathers. The fathers have a role to play. So you may think the father is no good, but God gave the father a role to play. Well, then let's help him to play his role. Why don't we do that instead of calling them no good? He may have weaknesses. He may have shortcomings. There is good, but no, let me change that. Let me just change that. There are strengths and weaknesses in all of us. Let's work with those strengths and see how we can help Daddy to be a better father for his children, particularly the sons, because the boys need it. I'm beginning to realize more and more now, today, as young as I am, that boy needs Daddy in his life more than ever before. Perhaps more so than in my time, when I was a child like them. But they do, because there are many distractions, all kind of distractions. I didn't have all these distractions what these youngsters have today. There was strong discipline, and the discipline today is extremely weak, because some things that were done back then, there are those who think it's taboo. You don't discipline children like that anymore. You change, and all kind of funny things happen. When we have people being shot to death, and this is another disturbing thing that I see, particularly among the male population, where young males are being shot down, not just with one bullet, but a torrent of bullets. They literally spray them. Whoever the killer or killers may be, making sure you're dead, you will not survive. Or you're very close to dead, you will survive probably a little while, and then you're going to phase out. I haven't heard any cry out from the Bahamian people about the torrent of bullets being pumped into our male population when these fellas get on their high horse and get vexed and think this is the way they should handle things. Of course, they should not be behaving like that, but it's happening. It happened right on Market Street the other day. Man coming out of the shop with somebody else, and another person was seriously injured. And you don't know when these things are going to happen, just like the mother did not know that something tragic was about to happen. I pray God will have that family through this crisis, because it's a very serious loss. To lose someone like that, Bahamians, is not pleasant. So we have to pray for our family members. That's why I keep praying for the pigeons in my family. I don't know what they just be doing, but I ask God's protection over them, because I ain't going to be with them all the time. But I don't want to hear of any tragedy happening to them or to anybody else for that matter. But we're living in an imperfect world where human beings will be carnally minded, and you have to be very careful of what is going on around you at all times. And sometimes we slip when we forget, and the very time you forget is when tragedy strikes. The other day I had to move quickly for an emergency in my own family. I always prepare for an emergency, because I don't know when it's going to happen. They could call me 2 o'clock in the morning. Say, Professor, something happened. You got to move on it quickly. And I jump straight up and get going. I've conditioned myself to move quickly. The other day I had to stop everything I was doing to do something for the family. I wasn't expecting it, but that's what happened. Emergencies don't tell you they're coming. They just come. There's no warning, Bahamians. The young lady didn't have a warning that something was about to happen. We have careless people on our streets driving recklessly, and we need to have some heavy fines put out against people who run the speed lights. And this thing about turning left on red, I think they need to cut that out completely. That has caused a lot of problems. You come to the stop sign, you stop. You wait till the way is clear, then you go. But we come up with some foolish things, and the people who make these stupid, foolish statements or laws don't want to even come and correct it. So some of these things, you just ignore them. When the signs say stop, you stop. And when the way is clear, then you go. For your own safety, because they haven't changed the law yet. You can wait for them to change it. You know how many people have been hit, how many people have been hurt, how many people have been injured. And they're still carrying those injuries with them. You may not hear about it in the news, but you visit the family, you will see. And they'll tell you how long they've been injured. I know of a particular member in my own community who has been injured very seriously. It's affected his whole life. You know what it is to be healthy right now, and then just a short time from now, you find yourself in the hospital. Your whole life changes, Bahamians. That's a radical change. I don't think you want to go through anything like that. Let's pray that that don't happen. See, it's our 51st year, you know. This is our last month in our 51st year. We got to prepare for year 52, and we don't want any accidents in 52. Let me say year 52. You have one radio personality who calls himself 52, That's a nickname. But with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, there's no nickname. This is the real Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. Ain't no nickname there. So you know that's him. But you have others who will, for whatever reason, and they have a right to do that if they so desire. But I told myself I want to live in one glass house. What you see is what you get, Bahamians. I don't want no wall. I don't want no block. See straight through. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they could stop the gossiping, because y'all like to gossip and talk people's business too much. We spend more time on the phone gossiping and talking about people, negative things about people. Why do we want to behave like that? Nothing positive to say about people. That's what they use the telephone for. They use all this modern technology for, to gossip. And of course, I heard a political leader, I got to comment on that too. He made a remark. I heard that remark earlier today. I can just talk about that a little later in the show. It's amazing how people behave, and they point fingers at other people, and they themselves are doing the same things that they accuse others of. But then we got to stop gossiping. We got to stop talking bad about our neighbors and not tell them the truth, Bahamians. Try to help them. Help them with the little children. Give them some assistance as best as you possibly can. Don't talk negative about them. The mother, the father may not have what it takes to help the children. So why you want to go and talk with some other people about them, and perhaps you don't have all the facts, but somebody gives you some misinformation, and you people are famous for misinformation. I hear it all the time on the radio. So I exercise the greatest degree of caution and restraint when I speak publicly, because I want to be as accurate as I possibly can. Of course, when it comes to the Constitution, and when it comes to the Holy Bible, they are set. They don't change one iota. So I don't apologize when I know I am constitutionally sound and when I am biblically sound. There's no need to change any of that. But the sources I have, I make sure that they're credible before I say anything about them. And if I am not sure, then I will tell them I ain't quite sure about that. Because I've had to turn some information down because it would appear as if it was just gossip and rumor, but nothing factual. And there are some people you out there who got all this tremendous information. I can speak to that right now, which can be helpful to the Bahamian people, but you do not share that information. I ain't talking about no people's personal business now. Don't misunderstand me. Information on issues of national importance that can be helpful to the Bahamian people, you don't know how to say it to the Bahamian people. But you give it to Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, he'll know what to do with it. But I got to prove that it is accurate and precise, that it is reliable, it is dependable, it is responsible, it is trustworthy. I can't take it because you say it's good, because it mightn't be good. It might be poison. And too many of us are involved in gossip, rumor, hearsay, particularly people who say they're Christians. A red rag in their mouth, they just know how to gossip and talk people's business and say negative things about people. Can't find something good or positive to say about a particular personality. How we get all mixed up like that? We have to pay. We have to answer to God for every nasty thing we said about some other people. You ain't gonna forget it, because it can stay right there on the record. And then the day is going to come and you have to give an account for that. Some of us have to give an account today. Ain't gonna be tomorrow, because ain't no tomorrow for you. Today is your day of accounting. And you hear the word transparency and accountability. You hear that all the time. Where is it? Where is it in our personal lives? Where is it in our family lives? Where is it in our community lives? Where is it in our constituencies? Because too many times we dwell on things that are extremely negative, but we bring nothing positive to the table. Why? Why are we thinking like that? People get up every day. And I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about the issues now. Don't misunderstand, because I do myself. But I'm in the business of working to do something about these things that affect me and the nation. We can't just let it go just like that. We have to see what we can do as responsible Bahamian citizens, patriotic Bahamian citizens. You need to know what it means to be patriotic, you know. I don't think plenty of you don't know that. I got to take a whole show and explain what it means to be a patriotic Bahamian. Because there are plenty of things you don't know. How you get mixed up like that? How is it? We've been living this country for almost 51 years, and you don't know what it is to be a patriotic Bahamian. You don't even know what is a Bahamian. You know you're a member of a Junkanoo group. You know you're a member of a Baptist church. You're a member of one club. Or you play softball, you play baseball, or whatever other sport you participate in. Or you might be a referee or a coach or whatever. And that's fine. All those things are fine. What does it mean to be a Bahamian? We get lost. What is a Bahamian? You mean to tell me after 51 years we don't know what is a Bahamian? We got to fix that. We go into the year 52 and we don't know what it means to be a patriotic Bahamian citizen. I got to take some time on radio and go in depth in that so you could know. From the Constitution, of course. That's my source. And of course, from the Holy Bible. I base everything on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas and the Holy Bible. That's the standard. Now, they have some other things what some people wrote. We had no participation in that. Some other people wrote those things, and then our leaders went and signed on to these other things. Didn't consult with us, didn't ask for our advice. They thought it looked good. They thought it was a good idea without asking you or me. That's why we all twisted up Bahamians and all this other foolishness and nonsense going on in the country. But we have to fix that. And we can fix it let me just say this, because I said this before. I have to say it more often than every single problem that we have in this country can be solved by way of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the Holy Bible. That's the only two books you need, you know. And every single problem can be solved. I can expound on that when I come back from the break. The lines are open 3260271, 3260272. We'll be back after the break.
Windermere Day Spa and Salons says hello, Dad, with their exciting Father's Day offerings. How about the Father's Day retreat package? A gentleman's hot towel facial, deep tissue massage,
I really dig your company.
It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Yeah, let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and Global Radio 99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Yes, you need to express yourself in word, in thought, and in action. All those things need to be done. Some of you are still a little afraid to talk. I don't know why. But some say they're fearful. Fearful of what? In a free country like the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, you're talking about you being fearful. Now, if you was living in Russia, I could understand. If you're living in China, I could understand. Ain't got no democracy over there. But that they want to take over Taiwan. Yeah, any foolishness like that? They want to take over Taiwan. They can't handle the people they got on the mainland. Well, they got Hong Kong. I don't know why the British signed that over to them. The British should tell them, no, we ain't giving this to you no more. We can let Hong Kong become independent. But they didn't do that. I can talk more about that later. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Professor.
Hey, what's happening?
This is your old buddy, Leroy Williamson.
Leroy Williamson, yes, sir, yes, sir.
I know you identify who you is. I identify who I is, too.
Well, you should, because you see, they will always see me, and then you got some people who like to call in, and they throw shots at you, but you can't know who they are because you just don't know them. They don't identify themselves.
Okay, let me just say a few words and I go to the other here.
Yeah, okay.
God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, one God, amen?
Yes, sir.
West End, Bimini, and 8 Mile Rock, I love you. The Bridgewater family, Pleasant Bridgewater, Mother Bridgewater. Beautiful people, I love you all.
Yeah, Pleasant Bridgewater, I remember her. She was a former MP.
Oh, they are beautiful people,
Okay.
Professor.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Professor,
Uh-huh.
I just want to say a few things just to encourage those individuals who find themselves on this earth in a bastard position.
What kind of what position again? I didn't catch that.
In a bastard position where the mother and the father were not married.
Oh, okay.
They were out of wedlock.
Out of wedlock, yeah.
I want them to know that they're not responsible for that.
No, they're
right?
not.
And they're not supposed to have any guilt with that.
That is true. Yeah, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
I am a bastard.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm happy that I'm a bastard because it teaches me how to conduct myself by myself and depend on God for the direction. Okay. Although my mother was a beautiful woman and so was my father. My father was married to another woman living on the island. Okay. And when I get a certain age, I wanted to be with my father. Yeah. I run away and go on to him.
Uh-huh.
And he received me with open arms. My father was a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
And I had no problem, you know.
Well, that's
so,
good.
you know, and I think I did well. I had little problems with little ticket here and there with the police.
Course.
But, you know, I was like a role model for a lot of young people.
Well, that's good.
You know, and then, you know, so I want to encourage those persons who find themselves in a position where their mother and father are not married and they're not responsible for that.
No, they're not.
You know?
That's true.
And Professor.
Yes, sir.
While I'm at it, I am a blind man, okay?
Okay.
And I depending on you to say your number a little bit more for me so I'll be reminded because I can't write nothing now to see it.
Oh, okay.
If you could say it a little more often.
Okay, well, that's fine. Let me say it right now. The phone number for the show, 326-0271.
Yeah, beautiful.
326-0272.
If you could say it more often while you talking on your show.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad you pointed out.
There are times when I wanted to call in, but I couldn't
remember the number. Okay.
And there's nothing to remind me.
About it, yes.
People like me, you know.
Yeah, but that's good. Well, I'm glad you mentioned it to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I always enjoy your show.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, all the best now.
Tell Lady Russell I say hello.
I will tell her.
Okay,
she might even call later in the show today because sometimes she just suddenly calls and, well, I'll be in touch with Lady Russell today anyhow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You did a beautiful job, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
God
Thank
bless.
you very
All
much.
right.
Yes, and that's a good call for today. It gives you encouragement because there are those who really appreciate this show, and there are some, again, of course, who will say some other things, and that's fine. See, as the talk shows, you have to hear both sides, the negatives and the positives. But you mustn't get discouraged because someone says something that's negative about you. You will be encouraged when someone says something positive about you, and that's fine. But you mustn't get vexed with them because they may disagree. They may have every reason to disagree with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. Now, if they disagree with the Holy Bible and they disagree with the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, well, I can't help you. You see, so I think I think we have a call on the line. Call the live on here. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Professor.
Hey, what's happening, man? You early today.
Thank you, man. Boy, that was something with the young lady would get.
Yes, and that disturbed me because I said to myself, I am going to take a walk to the show today. Because I thought about it all the time I was walking down here, just a short distance from where I live. And I said to myself, I ain't let nobody let me out on no car on the roadside where the fella could come and hit me. You either let me on the side where I am safe. Even if you got to turn the car around, I would expect you to go that extra mile because this woman lost her life.
And
She wasn't
to my
expecting that.
understanding,
Huh?
to my understanding, she just get her social degree,
Oh, yes.
you know.
Yes.
And I mean, sometimes we always wonder why, and we can ask God why.
Yes.
He may tell us, and he may not.
It may not tell you.
He may not tell us.
But what he does say is all things work together for good to them that
To
love the
them.
Lord.
See?
I had an incident happen in my family where I lost one of my best nephews.
See,
And I'm still feeling the punch of that.
so
The whole family is.
that same part of scripture you just quote,
Yes, sir.
Romans 8.
Yes.
He say, for his goodness,
Yes.
his good, it will work out. You may not see it now, or
That
the
is
family
correct.
may not see it
That
now,
is true.
but God will get the glory of it.
Yeah, I tell my
And
sister that all the
He
time.
will comfort their heart, and I
Yes.
wish my condolence to that
So
family.
that lady, yeah, man, that really hurt me, man.
You know,
I
it's,
really felt that. I really felt that today.
That's why I say, what is man that we rise up in the morning
Yes.
and we don't know what it's worth?
We don't know what may happen.
See, and I hear you saying about how people get on the phone and radio and they pull down people and
Yes, they do.
spread lies and
Yes.
things on people.
Yes.
You see, they don't know the danger that they are doing to themselves.
To themselves, that's correct.
You see?
Yes.
And that is what, and that is what we some of us are really good for.
Mhm.
Pulling down people and smashing the mud on people. But when we smash mud on people, sometimes the mud get on you also.
Of course it would.
You see?
It's coming for you.
And my last point is, we know we're going close to Father's Day.
Yes, we are. That's
And
on Sunday.
integrity, we need fathers with integrity.
Yeah, that's what the central bank, it has a big sign up saying integrity.
And it's really hard in this country to find men and women with integrity.
No, it is.
A lot of us hide in the closet,
Yes.
you see?
Uh-huh.
And that's the reason why sometimes I always hear you asking where are the people them to come out and go to march and things like that, because sometimes we are afraid to come out because people know some of our dirt.
Well, then you got to live in a glass house like me. What's wrong with them?
See, if you live in a glass house like you say, people already gonna know who you is.
Well, I want them to know so they can't gossip on me.
Right.
In fact, I got that good advice from a member of my church.
Exactly. Because if the man put hose on you, you get wet up. Well, if you go in the rain and get wet up, you wet up, you wet up.
You went off, that's correct, yes.
The rain ain't gonna make you get no drier.
No, it won't.
Okay?
That is correct. Yeah.
But yeah, man, we need people that have with integrity to go in the House of Assembly.
No, we do.
People with integrity to lead God people
Yes.
that are, no people that are trying to shaft people and do all kind of
Wickedness.
and
Yes.
things.
That is
We
correct.
need decent and honest people, man. You know,
Yes.
we ain't want no scary bags, them and stuff like that.
That is correct.
And this is the problem that we have in. When we look at these people who are trying to run for these office,
Yes.
we know them.
Yes.
You see, you mean him? You mean her?
Yes.
So where they going?
Where are they going? That's
You
correct.
see?
Yes.
But I said, you take it easy, man.
Well, thank you, caller. And Father's Day, happy Father's Day to you, too.
Yeah, well, I was be God's man like tomorrow.
Well, of course, tomorrow is open line.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow is open line. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I stick around till the man come back. I ain't got nowhere to go. Thank you very much for your call. And that was a good call. And Bahamians, we got to think positively now. Let us see how we can build the country, man. Please. Let's see if we could put 51 years of time that was wasted and start year 52 on the right foot by repenting, turning to God, getting our lives lined up during the few days we have left in this 51st year. We have another call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there? Yeah, go ahead.
How you
Caller?
doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Man, I can barely hear you, man.
Oh, Mr. Producer, please, if you, I don't know what you could do, but I'm hearing the caller very strongly on this end.
Hmm.
Can you hear me now, caller?
Yeah, I can hear you a little better.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah. So, Mr. Thompson, with that integrity thing, right?
Uh-huh.
It's on the central bank. That's happened on the central bank a long time ago.
It was
Right.
there a long time. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Well,
That's-
my guest told me about it the other day. We're going to go to the bank and see what we could find about this integrity thing, but they're
That's been a
advertising.
long time. And
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Thompson,
Uh-huh.
so you asking why the people ain't got no integrity and all that too, right?
Yes.
But it goes further than that, Mr. Thompson.
Okay.
They ain't got no
Enlighten us.
integrity. They ain't got no integrity. And they ain't know our Constitution. And our Constitution ain't got no integrity.
Hold him.
word
Put the caller on
integrity
hold.
is
Put him
not
on
written
hold.
in the
Put the caller on hold. Mr. Producer, put him on hold. You can't let that happen like that. You can't say them kind of things on the radio. Come on, man. I mean, we have freedom of expression. You were telling me the Supreme Lord of the land has no integrity. Give me a break, man. Where did we get that from? You see why I have to listen carefully to what people are saying on air? Mr. Caller, I cannot allow you to speak like that. I'm going to have to cut you because, that's very offensive. That's extremely offensive to the Bahamian people. And Mr. Bruce, please let him go because I cannot entertain that. You are telling me the supreme law of the land has no integrity. Come on, give me a break, man. That's the highest law in the land. That's the best that we have next to the Holy Bible. And you can tell me that the Constitution has no integrity. Now, some people may not have any integrity. I've stood on this Constitution from day one and it has never let me down. And it won't, Bahamians. It never will. We have another caller? Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Brother Thompson.
Yes, sir. See, I had to cut that caller, man.
Just in case I don't catch you tomorrow. But let me openly apologize for the last caller.
Yeah, but I found that to be very offensive. You cannot come and say...
As a Bahamian.
Yeah, hold on, caller. Hold on a minute. You cannot... See, we have freedom of expression. Please. That's why I had to ask you to cut him because I can't take that kind of foolishness, that kind of nonsense. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, sir. Let's talk a little about fathers first, sir, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. No, that's fine.
I often hear about the single mother.
Yes.
Every mother is a single mother. You use the mother for that one child.
That is true.
Now, you might be married. That's a difference.
That's the difference here. But you're still the mother of that child.
Yeah.
That's
you're
correct.
The single mother of that child.
Yes.
But I don't hear a lot of people talking about the single father.
You said a good point. That's a valid
December
point.
1st this year would make me 9 years since my wife died. I'm
Okay.
not looking for no sympathy now.
Yes.
9 years. And after my wife had died, we buried her. I had a brother and grandmom who was doing very, very well, way better than me.
Yes.
Tell me, man, send your son to me. I say, no. I had my wife's sisters in Exuma, in Black Point, Exuma.
Yes.
They send the boy to, I said, no. I can grow up my son.
Yes.
My son is going to be 20 on the 23rd of August.
Yes. Okay.
Never went to court for him one day. Never had to go to the school for him one day.
Okay.
Never had to go to the police station for him one day.
Yes.
One day. Now, I don't know if some of them are doubts that I couldn't raise him,
Yes. Maybe they did.
but he is still here with me today.
Well, that's good. I'm happy to
Never
hear
had no
that.
problems out of him. Never. My daughter, same thing.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
So let's give some of the dads like me
Yes.
some credit, man. They're not
I
like,
agree.
You know,
I agree with you.
like I told somebody on the talk show, you got bad politicians, you got bad preachers, you got bad mothers, and you got bad fathers.
You do.
You know, you got some of them.
Yeah, you got plenty of them now. There's too
He
many.
ain't no battery in the world can run up two positive.
Yeah.
You need a negative and
And
a
a
positive.
positive. Yeah, you're right. You're quite
For a
right.
day to be completed, you got that night and day.
But that's what the
It's
man
just a
tell
thing you
me.
just got to have,
That's what the man tell me.
you know?
Yes, sir.
But listen to me now.
Yes, sir.
I listened to the debate on yesterday. I listened to the gentleman from my God.
Yes, I heard him.
And I'm going to get some flack. I don't know if you feel the way I feel.
Okay.
Number one, I know he was reading off a paper, which is good. My God seemed to have some of the baddest, but no, let me rephrase that. Some of the most. We had it with Miriam Emmanuel with the numbers.
Yes, that's correct.
We had it with
Yeah.
the gentleman yesterday with the reading.
With the reading, yes.
Okay, now I'm not trying to degrade him or anything, but he said something that stuck with me. Mind you, even though I wasn't too much impressed with his reading, he
Yes.
said something that stood out with me. Whenever you think you're too big to serve, you're too small. You're too small to be a leader.
How do you
That
understand
stuck with
that?
me. Whenever you think you're too
Big to serve.
that is when you become too small to be a leader.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I said,
Okay.
wow,
Wow.
that was good. He get me my attention back. He got my attention back when he said that. He said, this man making some sense.
Yeah, I
know,
hadn't
but-
thought of it that way, but it
Yeah.
does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he came back up with that and he get my attention back because he's really
Yeah.
straightened me off.
Uh-huh.
You know. But we Mr. Thompson,
Yes, sir.
we having some problems in the inner cities.
Plenty problems.
Mind you, the Haitians will always be with us, and the Haitians were with us from the beginning. But now the Chinese are now getting all them, you know, them little buildings, we have them little mom
I
and
agree.
pop stores.
Yes.
The Chinese not getting them.
Yes, they are.
And they're not turning them into no more food stores.
No.
They're turning them into liquor stores.
We have plenty liquor stores.
They
I've
cut a
seen
little
that.
hole in the wall
In the wall.
and they serve through that. You
Yeah,
ain't going inside. So you
Yeah.
know what they're getting there.
that's true.
You know, you only order what you think they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying?
They ain't letting you come in
And
there now.
believe me,
Yes.
Bill, I don't do it as much as I used to. I was a good beer drinker.
Okay.
You could have poured a beer in a cup and I could tell you the type of beer that is.
Okay.
These beers now with these Chinese talking about Heineken and Bud Light and things, they ain't a real beer.
All right.
They ain't a real beer.
Okay.
I don't know where the brewery is. These Hennessy and things what they say, but they ain't a real Hennessy. I don't know where they producing these things from.
Okay.
The other day, I sent a fella to the shop for a bag, and I have challenges with my eyes, like Mr. Leroy.
Yes. Okay.
Right? I sent a fella to the shop for a Mahatma rice. Mind you, it almost smelled Mahatma for three, you know, but it didn't smell Mahatma, the same color and everything, you know.
Uh-huh.
The bag, the same color, blue and yellow, blue and red, and,
Blue and red, yes.
and white.
And white.
Clear
Yeah, that's
color.
correct. Yeah.
But it ain't no Mahatma rice.
Oh,
These people are now making a fool out of us Bahamians.
yes.
We have to be very careful. That is why I respect Mr. Rupert Roberts.
Yes.
Say they wanted to give him $2 billion for the franchise for Super Value.
Uh-huh.
Tell him keep it.
Yeah, tell them keep the money.
If the Chinese them get the franchise for Super Value, now be finished.
They'll be finished, yes.
Be finished.
Let's wish Rupert Roberts, you got to stick around till Christ come back.
Yeah, stick around with you.
Yeah,
Y'all don't need a whole lot.
that's
But
right.
listen to me, from your area, from the foot of from Mortimer Candy Kitchen, come to East Street South.
Yes.
We have 3 Bahamian-owned food stores,
Okay.
and all owned by Rupert Roberts.
Yes.
Now, I still ain't sure who owns the General now.
I'm not too
But-
sure of that either, but
Yeah,
I believe
I
it
know
might
Bahamians
be.
had owned it at one time.
I know it was Bahamian owned before,
But
but
other
I'm not
than
quite
that,
sure now.
every other food store on the road are owned by Haitians or Chinese.
Or Chinese, yes.
Check it out.
Okay.
The two biggest warehouse on the corner of Mason Edition there. That's Chinese.
That's Chinese, yes.
The one here by East Street here, before you get to Rubert's gas station,
Yes.
on the run gas station, that's Chinese.
Yes.
So they have us locked in.
Okay.
And then you ever see a Chinese store on the Eastern Road or
No, ain't none out
or
there.
West?
Ain't none out there and ain't none out west either.
Okay, so they come into us. They come
Into the inner
block us-
city.
block us in.
Yes.
I told somebody I went into foods I never eat in my life. The noodles, where they used to sell 4 for $1.
Yeah, I don't buy
same
them.
exact noodles now for 89 cents.
Yeah, I don't buy them.
No, I don't eat them. They're plastic. But sometimes, brother Thompson, that's all the people can afford. They can't let the children go hungry.
Well, you got to use a Bahamian grown fruits and vegetables. They got plenty of them.
I see the people them doing the noodles now. My son like it. Man, he come home, I thought he's cooking curry and white rice.
Yes.
The boy put the curry powder in the noodles and cut up the... and he killed it, man. It smells so good.
Ah.
I guess you got to be creative for that. I don't know. But I've never tasted. I've never eaten. I've never tasted before.
Yeah.
You know. But brother Thompson, you're doing a good job, man.
Well, thank you. I
And
appreciate
listen to
that.
me. I gotta go on this. Whenever you don't have no naysayers, you're not doing nothing right.
Okay, I accept that.
You know, you have that naysayers when you're doing something right. He had a song say, "Dog don't bark
At park cars. No, they don't. Isn't that
So if the
amazing?
car park, if you ain't doing that, if you ain't making no sense, if you ain't ruffling no feathers, you don't expect nobody to have nothing negative to say.
That is a true saying. Dogs never bark at parked cars.
No, and it's true. Look at it, it's true.
But it's
The dog play under the
100%
car,
true.
They don't say nothing.
They never say nothing.
The minute the car pull off, he run and make
They
it
run
noise.
and make a noise.
All the while the car there, they ain't do nothing to the
They
car.
nothing to the car.
You know, so we
Yeah.
that's you know, that's doing right, man. See?
Yes, sir.
Brother, like I told you yesterday, I am your number one fan.
But I appreciate that.
And I
and
get
thank
you.
you.
I get you.
Thank you very much.
All right? God
Okay.
bless, my friend.
All the best to you.
Yes,
That was
sir.
a good call. Yeah, we need more calls like that. That's why I got to stay here till Christ come back, and I'm going to work very hard to assist the Bahamian people. I want year 52. I'm going to speak to that later in the show. I want to see some things happen in the country, Bahamians, but I'm going to need you to help me to make it happen. It cannot happen just by one particular person or even the limited team that I may have. That's got to be expanded into all of these communities where we get the cooperation of people. No one particular personality has all of the answers to all of the issues that affect us. Now, let me tell you where you can find the answers to every national problem and every constituency problem is the Holy Bible and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's where all the answers are. You ain't got to go no further than that. Now, we have got to get people to agree with the Constitution. We've got to get people to agree with what God says in His Word, which is good for us. Now, that is the issue we have to deal with. For example, representation in the House of Assembly. We can have it much better than what it is. I'm going to go through that Constitution and pull out every single article that deals with parliamentary representation. And the advice that is in your Constitution, which will guide you to choose the right person in your particular constituency. You didn't know that, eh? It's right there in your Constitution. It's been there for 51 years and 11 months. No, 50 years and 11 months. Maybe 51 years, yeah. I'm jumping 1 year ahead. And the thing is, Bahamians, it has always been there, but we don't use it. That has been our downfall as a nation. We were listening to people telling us misinformation. I wanted to use another word, but my mind say, no, don't do that. Misinformation by personalities who may not know better, but of course some of them do know better, but continue to tell misinformation that is not true. But I can make sure I get that all cleared up in time so that when the opportunity presents itself, you will know way in advance who is the right person right in your own constituency to send to the House of Assembly. And you don't have to pick up anything that is untoward, because the Constitution and the Holy Bible will guide you to do the right thing. That's why we have it there. But some of you have been, like in the last election, you see how many people came and told us, God say this, God say that, God say the next thing. What happened to those people? They didn't come back to apologize to the Bahamian people. They didn't come and repent of their wickedness. See, they're the kind of people who stay in the dark. Now you can fool around with them again. And you're going to fool around with those who got in and who lied to you. You can go through that crap again, Bahamians. Don't you think we need to learn sense now? 50 years, 51 years. Coming up on 51 years. Don't you think we need to learn some sense? Well, I'm going to be working extremely hard, biblically and constitutionally, to make sure that you as Bahamians make the right choice for the betterment of this country. I hear the music in the background. I got to shut up. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walton, and I'll continue on the next side of the break now. The lines are open, 3260271, 3260272. We had some very good calls so far. We want you to get in on the conversation and also to act on the information. If you ain't sure how to do that, you call Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. He will show you exactly how to do it constitutionally and biblically. We'll be back after the break.
issue. Yeah, let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Yeah. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. This is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. In fact, I believe this is the freest country on the planet. Now, some of you might not necessarily agree with that, and that's fine. But the point is, do not be threatened by personalities, political personalities, who say things that may not necessarily be true and not constitutionally sound, not even biblically sound. I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on here. Go ahead, please. Caller, could you get in?
That's it.
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah, I only called to touch base back with you to ask you to touch on this, say something about this. I see the government now look like they're going to move the pension age from 65 to 67.
65 to 67?
So I want you to touch on that.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, it's good and it's bad. So
Okay.
I don't know, because, a lot of people were getting early retirement from 60.
Yes,
So
that
I
is
don't know
true.
if they can move to 60 to 62 or 63 or whatever. But I guess so much people were applying and getting an early pension.
Retirement
That's
pension,
where all the
yeah.
money was going.
Okay.
So now they're moving it from 65 to 67. So
They're
I don't know if
contemplating
you
on
want to say
doing it, right?
something, say something about that. Is
Okay, that's
Thank you.
fine. I appreciate that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, caller. The caller mentioned about the possibility of the government extending the retirement age to 67. Well, let me put it this way. Once a right has been given and achieved by the Bahamian people, you cannot arbitrarily take that right away from them. So people can reject it outright. They could tell the government, no, we're not going along with that, period. And it should be voluntary, if at all possible. There are some people who are looking to retire early, and there may be some who are looking to retire later, and they have their personal reasons as to why they wish to so do. Of course, there are those people like me who will wait till the man come back, because that's our responsibility. Not everybody looks at life the way I do. And I want to see things happen in this country where I would be involved in making sure that the overwhelming majority of the Bahamian people are living comfortably in this country. I think that's highly possible. And I want to see in our 52nd year, we start doing that right from the very beginning. July the 10th, July the 11th, when the new year begins, 52 years, our 52nd year, because the 10th is our anniversary, and then the very next day, the 11th, that's when we begin our new year. The thing is, Bahamians, we have to look out for each other. And those who want to retire early, I think that should be allowed, because once a person has been given a privilege or a right, you cannot necessarily arbitrarily take it away from them. That's not a good thing. It is always good to consult with people. Because see, right in my own area in Fort Wingastle, they're having some works being done up there. They have not consulted with the stakeholders of Fort Wingastle. In fact, the government was so presumptuous and the representatives so presumptuous in their behavior, they decided to bring all kinds of strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders to do whatever work to be done there on those three monuments, the 66 Steps, the Water Tower, and Fort Wingastle. Now, we are accustomed to those things. We know them from when we were little children. The point is, when you have the government and the representative of the constituency moving in that direction, got a stranger who didn't grow up in Fort Wingastle heading the committee to deal with all of these. And we got stakeholders right there. Property owners who live there all their lives, have a stake in Fort Wingastle, and they were not consulted. That shows you the wickedness of the government of the Bahamas and the wickedness of the representative. They think we're nothing, but that's all right. They'll be dealt with. This is the kind of crap that we have to avoid in our country, Bahamians. When you have a government that dishes you aside as if you're nothing, then you dish them on the side as if they're nothing. What you dish out, that's what you can get. Because people are not going to forget that. I'm not going to forget it, I'll tell you that. Because I'm going to make it known. It's not only happening in my area where I live, but in other areas as well. You may not hear more about that because, you know, they may not have the means to get it out like how I can. But I know it's happening in Fort Wayne Castle. And we're not going to let them get away with this foolishness, you know. We have to blast them. Because it's wicked, it's evil, it's rotten, it's not good for the advancement of the people of Fort Wayne Castle. I don't care what kind of plans they come up with. And then you leave the people who are the real stakeholders. They couldn't do this in Life at Key, you know. You think they could do that in San Souci? You think they could do that in Old Fort Bay? Tell them try it now and see what would happen. That's why the people of Fort Wayne Castle and these communities, you got to rise up, man, and put the government in place where they belong and put the representative in place where he belongs. You just don't have people puke all over you and talk to you bad and mistreat you. And then you say you're getting good treatment. How do you know good treatment? That's rotten treatment. And I'm going to speak out against it because it's wrong, it's evil, it's wicked, and it's not good. We have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, I apologize for the fellow who called a while ago. The problem was the question was asked wrong of you. My question was supposed to have been, in which of my part of the Constitution, or which chapter, whatever, a part of the article in the Constitution, the word integrity is written. That's what I supposed to ask you, not. But if it isn't in the Constitution, so what I said first would be right.
Well, that is a good question that you asked. I have to check that out. I'm not quite sure. I couldn't answer.
I don't think the word integrity is in the Constitution.
Notice what you just said. You don't think. So we can't take it like that. You can't take it like that. We got to be sure.
Okay, I understand, Mr. Thompson. But what I'm saying is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The chances more that it isn't, that it is, because the word integrity is in the U.S. Constitution, not the Bahamas Constitution.
Do you know that for sure?
Mr. Thompson is the constitutional man. He's supposed to then tell me which part of the Constitution it ends.
I told you, I cannot say, caller, I told you and I answered you. I cannot tell you the top of my head if that is so or not.
I beg your pardon?
I told you I cannot tell you. You asked me which article in the Constitution. I don't remember everything off the top of my head in the Constitution.
Integrity is a big word, you know.
Integrity has to do with honesty.
That's a big word, man. That's a big word.
So what are you saying? It's missing out of the Constitution.
And that don't get thrown about loosely like that and thing unless you back it up.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? America, that in their Constitution, for integrity, they could back that up. That's why they got their military and they're strong and force and things to back up their Constitution.
No. We don't need none of that here.
Mr. Thompson, if you ain't, the Constitution is a two-edged sword. You know, one side is soft and the next side sharp as a razor blade.
But I don't know nothing about that.
Blade, huh?
I don't know nothing about that.
Mr. Thompson, the Constitution could be good as well. I'm talking about for individual as bad for an individual, depending on what you do. The Constitution is a law. If you break the law, it's a punishment. If you ain't break the law, you go your way.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the word integrity, that's the word. And if integrity was in our Constitution, and if they're following that, our whole setup has been different.
Okay, thanks.
Seriously. But Mr. Thompson, I mean, like, could you check and see which article in the Constitution contains the word integrity?
But see, you answered your own. No, but caller, you answered your own question. You said it's not there. I told you I have to check to be certain. I can't tell you which article.
A million times, Mr. Thompson.
Pardon?
That way, you see that something, you'll be able to say, well, I think it in here. Because
Okay.
that word is so big, that's a big word, you know.
Have a nice day, caller. Have a nice day. See, this is the kind of thing I'm trying to avoid. He's arguing over a word, integrity. All right? He's saying to me it's not in the Constitution. I tell him I cannot specifically quote which article the word integrity is in the Constitution. But I know this much. If I understand the Constitution as I do, and I think I know it better than most people, it has a lot to say about integrity. It has a lot to say about honesty. It has a lot to do with character, the way we ought to behave, the way we ought to conduct ourselves. I can say that with absolute certainty because it's true. Now, sometimes people get hung up on a particular word, and some words have more than one meaning, or you can have a combination of words which are synonyms. They mean the same thing. But then at the same time, I don't want to get into an argument. If he says in his mind and in his heart it's not there, that's his view. I don't need to go further with that. And we don't want to have an argument over a particular word, whether it's in or not in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because see, most people, unfortunately in our country, have not paid much attention to the documents. They were expecting their leaders to lead them in understanding the Constitution. Even up to today, it's still not happening. Okay, here's what the Constitution says: a national commitment to self-discipline, a national commitment to unity, a national commitment to the rule of law from day one. I don't know of any administration that has done those three things. Never was taught, never was demonstrated, because even the word of the government ain't true. Where's their national commitment to unity? Do you see it? Where do you see, like how the woman was, knocked down last night? And that really bothered me. I got to stop talking about it because it just disturbs me. The thing is that we are a people that need to be committed to self-discipline. We do not have that. Personal self-commitment, yes. Family self-commitment, yes. Constituency self-commitment, yes. A national commitment to self-discipline, Bahamians. We need that now more than ever before. And no government in this country has ever taught that to the Bahamian people. Nationwide. It's never been taken up. And I've been there from the very beginning. I know what I'm talking about. It's been in the Constitution from its inception. A national commitment to do some specific things. We have never done those things in 50 years and 11 months. We've been playing around with all kind of crappy things, writing all kind of things on pieces of paper and scraps of paper, and say we're going to run the country that way without the Constitution. That has been our biggest downfall, and it is still so today, 50 years and 11 months later. We have to fix it. I believe we have a call on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Brother Thompson. How you doing today, man?
I heard you on another show.
All right.
And I heard what you said.
I
heard what you said. I cannot disagree with those comments you made on that show.
All right. Well, I ain't sure which one, but I glad you ain't disagreeing. No matter which it was.
No, but I think you were quite sensible in your comments. I can't disagree with that.
And I meant to tell you too. One time I called you and I spoken about something pertaining to the babe and suckling, like the older versus younger generation.
Yes,
and I must respect you for how you agreed with the point. You didn't disagree.
Yes, that is true.
I mean that was some weeks ago, but you know what I mean. I don't know if I told you I respect you for that also, but I appreciate that though, Brother Thompson.
But those comments you made just recently, it wasn't too long ago now. You made those comments just recently, and you were well pleased with your comments. I don't know what you're going to say today, but I thought I should.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But I mean, I just want to say, good to hear about a free thinker still, still up and breathing, and sound like he's still going strong. I just want to say, good to hear he's still, still above ground and still sounding.
No, but that's fine.
I just want to say, peace and love, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, Brother Thompson, one thing with the Constitution, Brother Thompson, it's only words written on the paper. And like any other words or any other thing written on the paper, it is only as good as we carry it out and we stand firm to it.
I have to disagree with you. You just said it's just words written on the paper.
Yes, sir. Without the proper action, without doing, you know what I mean. They're only words in the paper. We have to give them meaning. We have to give them value.
But,
you understand? Okay.
But the Constitution is supreme law. It's just not just words on a piece of paper.
Okay, but check us out, Brother Thompson. If the Constitution was so much on its own, right? How did the country get so corrupt? How come the Constitution couldn't keep us from getting to this point?
No, the Constitution is your guide.
Yes, sir.
To good living and how your country ought to be run.
Yes, sir, but you must follow. But the rules. But what I'm trying to say is, what is written on the paper must be a reality.
No, but see, I have to disagree with you when you say what's written on the paper. See, the Constitution is not just a piece of paper.
Okay.
I find that to be extremely offensive.
Well, I mean, see that's why I just was saying like words in general, Brother Thompson. Like
No. When it comes to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. Now, what we have had are leaders writing on scraps of paper and say they're running things that way. Now, that's a whole horse of a different color from the Constitution.
Yes, but I can say this thing on the Constitution, and I can go into something I think you might agree with. But
no, man, don't say that.
Yeah, but what I want to say about the Constitution, Brother Thompson, I mean, like, what we all need to do is we need to, like, don't be what they call revisionist history or revised history. Like, when we tell a history from a point of view that's not really accurate, but we add things to it.
Okay.
And we don't really tell it as it is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like when we say, like, I've heard things about our founding fathers and how they wrote the Constitution and stuff like that. I mean, But
wait a minute now. You mean to tell me the founding fathers had nothing to do with the Constitution?
But I mean, they might have signed it to say we accept this.
Wait. Hold on. What you mean they just signed to say they accept it? Somebody gave them a piece of paper and say that's what you all can do?
Brother Thompson, well, what you could do, Brother Thompson, is like probably over the weekend or like when you get a little time, right? Like go and research other former British colonies, right? And look at their constitution as it relates to our constitution, and see how much they mirror each other. All right? See how much they mirror each other.
Caller.
I think my guest wants to say something, Brother Cartwright. Go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
Caller.
Yes, sir.
If you read the preambles into our Constitution,
yes, sir.
This is the only British colony, former British colony, mentions Christianity and spirituality.
Okay, but
so it means to tell you that the men who crafted this,
yes, sir,
people like the late Loftus Roker, Carlton Francis,
yes, sir,
these were men of high Christian faith.
Okay, so, in the fairness of time, I get what you're saying, right? So, but check this out. Okay, now, if the preamble, if only the preamble is the different thing from us and the rest of the constitutions throughout the nation, right?
No,
then like that really don't really have no significance, because like I told Brother Thompson one day, like a Muslim nation, when a nation claims to be of a religion, they live under the laws of that religion. When you go to a Muslim nation, you live under Muslim laws. When you come to the so-called Christian nation, we live under secular laws.
Yes.
So that preamble, sir, right? Because when you go to the other British colonies, former colonies, you find a bunch of Christian churches, just like you find here. You go to Jamaica, you find a world of churches.
Now, but let me ask you this question. You brought up Jamaica. Do you realize that even though Jamaica is a former colony,
yes, sir,
every colony would become independent? When they went independent, they crafted their constitution to suit their people. You know, one of the things I always tell people this. If you remember, I don't know how old you are, but I'll tell you how old I am. I'm 62, going on 63. Means I was around when this thing was issued.
Okay.
The prime minister at the time, Sir Lyndon, they did a white paper, a green paper, which was they were sending it out to every citizens in every crack and cranny of the Bahamas to get their input and what they see and didn't like. After all of that, yes, sir.
So let me ask you a question. So you're trying to tell me that and this survey that they was taking, that they wanted to get the public's viewpoint on how we should go about independence and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
I lived it.
All right, so let me ask you this. So, other than, right, just let's say the day before independence or the day before majority rule and the day after, right? What changed in the country other than, right, the faces, probably like, like say, okay, the persons who were leading, and we got a national anthem, a pledge, and a flag.
Well,
the reason why I'm asking this, because if you're going to be in a country that's becoming independent from your oppressor, from colonialism, right?
Yeah.
The least you could do is change your education system.
Well, let me put it to you like this, right?
I didn't hear you, sir.
The education system,
yes,
and this is what I always tell people, in every system, and this is the only critique I have of the Constitution, in my humble opinion, it should have basically, every 10 years after independence, you go back, you look at the landscape, and then you ask the people their input, because times change.
Yes, sir, but I'm glad
now, the education system, right? I grew up under that education system.
Yes, sir. And the point I'm getting at is that the education system was inadequate then.
No, it wasn't.
Wait a minute, and still is inadequate today.
No, it isn't. You know.
Well, but hold on, wait a minute, and listen. Just the other day, just a few years ago, right? We changed. Stop celebrating Columbus Day. We're supposed to stop celebrating Columbus Day from independence.
Well, here's the thing.
You understand where I come from?
Yeah, but now.
So what I'm trying to show you is that the necessary changes of a true revolution were not done.
Caller, I'm going to have to cut you because Mr. Producer, cut him, please. Cut him. See, the point is, this is a wasted time that he's doing on this show, and I'm not going to allow it to go any further.
Yeah. Well,
the point is, he does not want to give credit to our founding fathers. You insult me when you tell me my ma and pa had nothing to do with this country becoming an independent nation. That all we did was take a piece of paper for some white people who put something on one piece of paper, hand it to us, say, put your name on it, and that's your constitution. I find that to be extremely offensive.
Well, Professor, here's my thing. If you've not lived it,
but I lived it.
I agree. I've lived it.
My mother and father lived it. My grandparents before them lived it.
So did I. But here is the thing. We now have a generation of Bahamians who were not taught, who were not told.
They were not taught. Yeah,
and so
I agree with that.
They now come up with this sense is that the system, and I always tell people, systems don't change you, you know.
No, they don't.
I always tell people this. I went to a private school. I lived in the same community I lived in now. About a third of us went to private school, same private school, St. Anne's. We all elevated academically. Some of us were better suited to be doctors. Out of my graduation class, I've known about 5 to 10 of my classmates are doctors.
Yes.
I've got another 5 to 10 of them are permanent secretaries. I've got another few of them who does landscaping, who does other things. So it is about you embracing. Now, could we have done more? Yes.
Yes,
but
we could have.
I always tell people this. This is where I look at the parliament and says, listen, every 10 years you're supposed to take a breather, take a stop. Let us see how far we've come, where we can go, how we can enhance. Life is a journey.
Yes, it is.
The independence order that we were given and what we done from 73, it is a journey. It didn't start and stop in 1973.
No, it didn't.
This is 2024. We should have basically keep building.
Yes.
Our educational system should have given us more. You know, as I always tell people, that I hear people say, well, you know, maybe the schools are overcrowded or this and that. And listen, if a child wants to learn, he will learn. The children today, I'll say the last 20 years, has the equipment, tools to do quicker learning than I
They got
have.
all kind of things and what I didn't
Yes,
even have.
they've got all the access. See, but the point is this, and I always tell, I have a nephew of mine, and he said, "Boy, I ain't gonna treat my kids how mama or Grammy them treat me." So I said, "Come here." He said, "Well, Grammy them, if I did something wrong, they would have beat me." I said, "Okay, so you don't want to beat the child." So I said, "Well, what would you do now in the form of discipline?" He said, "Well, I give them the look." And I said, "What if they don't
Give them
buy?"
the look?
I said, "They don't buy into the look." He said, "Well, I then turn him over to the wife." I said, "Well, let me put it to you like this. You know the child loves certain things. So why don't you discipline them by taking away those things that they love and you build on that?" He said, "Uncle, I didn't thought about that." I said, I'm an old uncle. You a young son.
That's right.
And I said, the thing is, the country does not stop growing.
That's right.
But the young people, and I would say those 40 and under, have to embrace, because it is a long marathon. So when I pass you the baton, you're supposed to build not on the bad. You correct the bad that was happened, but you built on the good. I hear people always say, "Oh, but Columbus story." And I say, "Listen to me. Here's my take on Columbus. Columbus was the first European tourist that came to these islands. That is how come we've been so good at the craft called tourism.
Yes.
The first European tourist in the Bahamas was in 1492, October 12th, which was Christopher Columbus.
Yes.
We build on that craft, we keep building, and we still that is our number one industry.
That's correct.
Now, we've had other industries that were more diversified, but we now realize that, hey, today's generation is not going to do that, go into those fields. Like I spoke with the director of Biker yesterday, an agricultural fair they had by Parliament.
Yes.
And he said, farming in the Bahamas has not changed. We are still doing slash and burn.
Okay.
He said, but you're not going to get some 18 and 19-year-olds going to go in the bush and cut down and burn or a straw hat.
Yes.
He said, we've now come up with greenhouses, aquaponic, hydroponics. And I said, all that's good. I said, you also know that the Bahamas itself, as an archipelago, we are made of a lot of these islands have natural made creeks.
Of course.
So I said, we can now, instead of going out to sea and fish, we can now come up with an idea where we do fish farm on land.
On land, yes.
So all
Correct.
of these things, if we built on it, we'll now show you that the founding fathers only give you the guidelines.
Yes.
We were now supposed to take that mantle and take it elevated.
That's right.
If you build a house, where do you start from?
The
foundation.
foundation.
You
Yes.
don't build a house from the roof come down.
That's correct.
And so what Bahamians have to realize is you have to embrace, but you build
Yes.
on.
Brother Cartwright, I'm glad that you're here, but I have to correct the misinformation that the caller was giving out, because I can't let that go like that. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson with Brother Cartwright, my special guest. And some things have to be corrected. I just cannot sit here as the host and allow this foolishness and this nonsense to be perpetrated. In fact, I should have stopped him a long time, because I knew in which direction he was trying to go to show discredit to the founding fathers of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Nobody does that. You don't treat your father and mother like that. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. We'll be back after the break.
East Street to Blue Hill Road. It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Yeah, let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself here. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. This is the last portion of the show with my special guest, Brother Cartwright. And so we want you to call in 226-0271, 226-0272. I'm going to let Brother Cartwright speak on some issues right at this point, which are very pertinent. Brother Cartwright, go ahead, please.
I hear people saying that the members of parliament are not leaders. To govern a country, you have to have a few leaders. And if you look at the setting of our constitution, it states that we must have 39 members of parliament. They are the 39 who represent the constituencies and the state. So they are the leaders from those constituencies to go to parliament and legislate and pass laws in the confine of the Constitution of the Bahamas.
Yes.
To rule and to help build this country.
That's correct.
Now, a lot of people tend to feel, I always say to persons, if we do not hold our parliamentarians to be accountable, because we know in the country, election is every 5 years. So if an individual is elected and he's supposed to be a representative, and for the greater while of the community of that constituency, he is not carrying the concerns of the people of that constituency, you have one thing to do. You can vote them out.
That's correct.
And you can choose anybody when the election comes to put in there. You could choose an independent, you could choose whatever.
Yes.
But the thing is, we basically have known that for years, we've been almost a two-party system.
Yes.
And the thing is, like I always tell people in other parties and stuff, build yourself. All you need to do is get one in the door of parliament. That's all you need. Start off at one.
Yes.
You know, don't start off and try to govern. Start off at one. Because once you get in, that one voice can be the difference to the other grouping in the parliament.
That's right.
And as more you keep bringing the concerns, you galvanize, you build up an influence, and then what happens? When you check yourself out later down the road, you've got yourself a group of the country saying, hey, these guys are now bringing something different to the table. I can't wait for this guy to come and present his full slate, and we can now see where they will go. And this is why I tell people this. The Bahamas is a unique country.
Very much so.
We are basically designed on the premise of a constitutional monarchy. But if you watch the way administrations have governed, they have governed like they're a republic.
Republic, that's right.
Because a lot of things that they do, they never come back.
They never come to the people
and explain or talk to the people.
Exactly.
So when I look at the system we have here, I always tell people, listen, I blame me, because if my concerns in my constituency, and I don't sit down with the MP or the people in the constituency, don't go to the constituency meeting and voice their grievance. Because, you know, one of the things that I've learned is that in the Bahamas, whoever becomes the constituency leader of that community, which is the MP, people sit home and say, you know what, I didn't vote for him, so I ain't getting.
Yeah.
So whatever meeting they have, I ain't getting, because he ain't dying my party.
Huh.
That is your representative.
That's the representative. Yeah.
That's the one who's supposed to carry your concerns. How would he know what concerns if you don't go out? Yes, I agree, they need to come around more, but you also, it's a two-way street. This is not a one-way street.
It's not a one-way
You need
street.
to go to their meetings
Yes.
and you voice your opinion.
Yes.
You would be surprised sometimes when you voice an opinion. There are others sitting in that room will say, no, what, man, he was right. I
Yes.
couldn't see it. But you galvanize the support of those who said, look, man, we appreciate you speaking up for us.
Yes.
So now the parliamentarian, he goes back to his parliamentary colleagues. He said, guys, we have to do something because my consider this is what's been happening. And you see this wave is building up and this tide is rising. So when I hear people say, well, I said, listen, the system is not wrong, you know. It is the people we choose to go
To go
them
and to
and
do
represent.
yeah, that's correct.
If you do not, it's always like people, if you're driving down a one-way street and the police see you driving down the wrong way of a one-way street and doesn't say it's nothing, do anything, is it your fault or is it the police? It's both of your fault.
Both of your fault.
Because you know it's wrong to go down
Right.
a one-way street, and the police supposed to basically give you a ticket and say, hey, you're going down the wrong way,
Right.
and let you know. So once he brings that to your attention, you get to see it. Now, I've heard friends of mine been asking me my opinion on BPL.
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, I haven't seen the new
The new bill.
which
Yeah.
they have putting together.
Yeah.
Now, I've had all these questions that BPL should have been challenged by the government as a quasi entity
Yes.
to evolve with energy in the country.
Yes.
Because one of the things I don't think the average Bayman realizes that we are a group of islands. So for your energy source, say in Auckland, Abaco, Long Island, that fuel for your substation has to be put on a badge because you cannot put those type of fuel on planes.
That's true.
If you look at the weather and the weather is bad, the barge will not leave harbor with that fuel on it. It'll wait till the weather is clear. So why haven't we not used the sources that we have? Yes, solar is new, but we can embrace it. As a matter of fact, I always tell people that the Bahamas should have been the leading country in the world in this region using solar.
Okay.
We sit in the Atlantic Ocean, means that there's enough water you can use as a form of energy. The problem I see with BPL was always been that government has such a hold on it,
Grip. Yeah.
and that those who are put in charge are not independent thinkers.
No, they're not.
So if you've been appointed to a position by a administration, you're not really looking out for the people.
That is correct.
And so you were looking out for the administration.
That's right.
And so this is where we run into problems. So when I hear people say, well, they might say, no, we just need to be more aggressive in our way of thinking
I agree.
and basically assert ourselves. Because if we don't, we be in the problem.
We would
And
be.
the biggest thing I always tell everyone is that people ask me over, well, what's your opinion on this one, this one? I say, listen, I don't have a real opinion. I said, this is how I make my assessment of politicians or parliamentarians.
Yes.
I ask you simple questions about the constituency you in. And I ask my parliamentarian about questions that appears my community.
Right.
And just how you answer, then I know, and then I would then start to look at asking him questions on the Constitution.
On the Constitution, yeah.
Because if he doesn't know how to make law, and if he doesn't know how that law should coincide with the Constitution, we're wasting time.
We're wasting time.
We're
Plenty
spending
time.
foolish money.
Right. That's
Yeah.
correct. That is correct.
Okay, let me call up.
Yeah. We have a call on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Mr. Thompson.
Hey, what's happening?
Oh,
It's Kendall. It's Kendall?
This Kendall Hammer.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't hear you too good.
You
I
in New
can't
Providence or you in Grand Bahama?
hear you. I'm in Grand Bahama.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking the other day.
Huh?
I thought you were in Grand Bahama.
I am in Grand Bahama.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I just wanted to know.
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay.
just for you and your guest. Now, Professor,
Yes,
now
sir.
you know I didn't like how you hang up on my man and you put him on hold because you got that button. Control everything.
No, but he was way out of line, and I could not allow that. I cannot allow. But Kendall, listen to me carefully. I cannot allow a caller to behave in the way he did.
We have to disagree to agree because we're talking about the Constitution. Because there's was many constitutions, like I told you. You don't know the one where they change it from April to January. So you have to give everybody a chance. Because you
Wait a
ain't got
minute.
all-
What you mean about Constitution? Only one Constitution? National Constitution?
So tell me what section changed changed April the 1st, the year, the January of the year then.
No constitutional changes have been made, Kendall.
So why change?
What
It used to be
changed?
It used to be April used to be the first of the year in century.
No, you're talking about something different.
Okay, now let me
That's
see your
not.
next
That's
one.
nothing to do with the Constitution, Kendall.
Pardon me?
That's nothing to do with the Constitution.
Why April is not the first of the year and January in the first of the
Yeah,
year?
but
For
that
them to change,
no,
for them to change the calendar. For them
no,
to
the
change the
calendar
calendar.
changed. Yeah, that's a different
Well,
matter.
that's the calendar change I'm talking about. So it got to be under the
Oh,
Constitution, Mr. Professor.
I thought you said Constitution. No, the calendar
Okay.
may have changed.
Pardon me?
The calendar changed.
Yes.
Okay.
The calendar makes the year. So when did they change April for not being the first to January being the first with the
Well,
calendar year?
I don't know which year that occurred. That happened some
Okay.
time ago.
The same way the guy was giving his report and you didn't agree with it. Come on, I ain't hanging up on you because you can't answer my question.
No, but see, you and
This
him,
is one thing, Professor. Use
Kendall,
my phone, right?
Kendall, listen to me carefully.
Yes, sir.
The caller, you and the caller talking about two different things entirely.
Okay.
He wanted to show disrespect to the founding fathers. I was not prepared to allow that to happen on the show.
Okay, no problem. You run the show. But Professor, in good words, why your boss, who's your boss, ain't called to give me a job yet? And the next thing, I want to have an open debate with you, being your friend. I want you to send me the Nassau, and I want where no button is, you can't reach, and no producer is.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? You can't
I
have
want
that
to
on
have an
there.
open debate with you.
No, you can't do it like that. It
I
has
want
to
to come
be
to
on.
Nassau. I
It
want to
has,
come to Nassau, and no producer to cut off nothing.
no. You can't do that.
Right.
That can't be allowed. No, sir.
Okay.
That's
well,
contrary to
you have to
broadcast
allow us.
rules. Kendall, you can't do that. There
Okay,
must
sir.
be the
I got you.
producer.
But you got to allow us as young men to put our input in without cutting us off because we might don't call back and you have to care about that.
Okay.
So if we have freedom of speech, why are you not allowing people to use their freedom of speech?
Okay. All right. I'll answer that. You finished?
Well,
You
I'm
have
gonna
any
listen. I'm
more?
gonna listen. I love you, Professor. Hit me up and y'all give me a job. Have a good day. Yo.
I think he's a little confused. You cannot have, and let me say this for the audience who may not understand. You cannot have an open debate without any rules and regulations. You cannot allow people to say anything on these live airwaves without control. That just cannot happen. Not in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. There are specific rules that protect broadcasting, and my rights have to be protected. The station's rights have to be protected. The rights of the producer, everybody has to be protected. So you have to have regulation. You cannot have an open show where he said there's no producer, right?
Yeah.
No, you can't have that. No, that would never be allowed because then you may have people go off on a tangent and the show would be out of control. So I think what he was talking about, he's talking about April. Why is it that the year starts in January instead of in April? That's a whole horse of a different color from what the caller was saying who called in the show earlier today.
I think if I'm not mistaken, he's talking about how government do their business and they say, well, we start at this particular month and then we close off at this particular month and we say this is the year.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that is how, and I always tell people that is something that
well, if he's referring to that's the Parliament,
yeah, that's Parliament.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the Constitution.
Nothing to do with the Constitution.
Because we've seen administrations change what they call was the beginning of their fiscal year,
yeah,
and the end of it.
And the end of it.
So that is something that they can do. It doesn't have nothing to do with the Constitution.
Yeah, and I think he was getting, that's why some people get some things mixed up because of they see the behavioral patterns of persons who may not necessarily be wrong constitutionally, but they have latitude to do some things. And that particular aspect, if that's what we understand him to say, that would have nothing to do with the Constitution itself, in the sense that, changing the Constitution, as he would have said. So, there's a lot of misunderstanding, and I didn't like the idea where the caller was going with his remarks, and you don't show disrespect to mommy and daddy. You may disagree with them, fine, but to tell me And to say on the public radio, on national radio, that the mothers and fathers of this country, and you mentioned about the papers that were written, the green paper
Yeah.
and the white paper. I was there when all this was going on. You were there too.
Yes.
I went through that experience. And for the first time in the history of this country was in September 1972, when the 18-year-olds were first eligible to vote. And that's when they decided to take the country into independence, September the 19th, 1972. And so the thing is that, there's a lot of misunderstanding, and it would seem to me as if the younger generation being misled. That's why I'm so glad you came today, because you bring a historical factor into the conversation that people need to hear from, and hear from you because you've been doing research on this and explaining to the Bahamian people what these real things are that occurred, because they are not knowledgeable. They want people to believe, and some people giving out a lot of misinformation, to say that the founding fathers did nothing. All they did was went to England, somebody put a piece of paper in front of them, say, sign your name on this, and that's your constitution. I find that to be extremely offensive, because it didn't happen like that.
Another thing, too, that Bahamians might have been given a
Misinformation,
on
Yeah.
is that constitution that we have now had to be ratified by Parliament.
Yes, it did.
And I always tell people that who were not there, if you had met those 39 members, and I said, here's the thing, what separates the founding father, the late Sir Lyndon at that time,
Yes.
compared to those behind him.
Right.
The Constitution says that you have a minimum of 9 members in your cabinet.
That's right.
So you still had the same 39.
38 at that time.
Yes.
But yeah.
So you can imagine 9 members debated with 29 parliamentarians.
Yes, that's
to
correct.
get them to convince to ratify
That constitution.
that constitution.
Yes.
That was not an easy task.
No, it was not.
And at that time, we've had members of both parties,
Yes.
very strong-minded
Very
men.
strong-minded people, yes.
And they basically, a lot of them stuck to their guns.
They stuck to their
and
guns,
they say,
yes.
we don't want this in it, we want that in it.
Yes.
We want that on it. And so for
yes.
them to come to the conclusion and say, you know what? Okay, guys, this is what we're going to do. Fine. Let's go. And they voted on. And one of the things I've always smiled, and I heard a personality, I wouldn't say personality, but I heard, listening mind runs on to the former Minister of Immigration.
Immigration, yeah.
And when he said something, I always told him, you listen to these guys carefully. Sometimes listen to them.
Yes.
And he said, it's a policy that we do when we gain our citizens. So I said, okay. Your policy did not go in line with the Constitution.
That's correct.
And then he went further when he said that this has been done before. So I was like,
that doesn't make it right.
If Peter jump off the bridge.
Now you're jumping off the bridge.
Because you said that's a policy, you fall ahead.
You fall in by jump off the bridge too.
No, read the Constitution and understand what it says.
What it says,
So that when you get up in Parliament, and this is why I was telling a good friend of mine yesterday, I said, listen, when you make your contribution about your constituency, not about you.
That's correct. About your constituency, yes.
And you relay their concerns
to the government.
Because I said to him, and he said, I said, because I've heard every one of y'all get up. I rise on my feet for the good people
of that particular constituency.
Yeah. And I was like, when you ask the people in those constituencies,
they ask them nothing.
He said, well, boy, I see him since I voted for him.
Exactly.
Then some people say, boy, he changed his number on me.
He changed his number,
So how are you representing these good people if you basically ducking them?
Ducking them, yeah.
And I said to people over and over, I said, I like this. And because I spoke with a cabinet minister yesterday, and I said to him, I said, listen, man. And the first thing he said to me, see these trolls? I said, hold on, man. I understand you could say they're trolls, right? But I said, I'm bringing a complaint from a sick man who was basically has need of one of our facilities, and he was saying how these facilities are being operated.
Yes.
And he said, "Oh, okay, take my number." I said, "Let me give." He said, "No, no, no. Let me give you my number. Tell him call me." And he said, "I would like us to go back to some of the things we used to do in the past, fine tune it, and give it and bring it back into the communities." I say, "I have no problem with that." I said, "This is what I like to say. I can dialogue with you." I said, I just tell people when they go to come by Parliament, I said, "Listen, if I'm a politician or a parliamentarian and I see you only come in and asking me for rent money, grocery money, it doesn't take me long to figure out that after 2 trips, I see you back around the place, and that's what you're gonna ask me. I go to the bank and I break the money up like how my granddaddy used to.
Yes.
They do, break it up in small little
Well,
chunks, and I give everybody. So I
Yeah,
know
something.
that's what you get. That's what
As
you come here
get something
for.
yeah.
But you ain't asking for nothing about the community.
Community.
How you, in your own community, can that parliamentarian make life better for you?
That's what's important.
And I said to the politician, he said, "But man, what I can do for you, man? Use my boy." I said, "Listen, you know what you can do for me? Make life better for my
For
neighbor.
the neighbor, yeah.
Because if you make life better for him, I don't have to worry about
About him anymore.
being a nag to me at times.
Exactly, yes.
Because now he could appreciate things for himself.
That's correct.
And he could do better for his family.
For his family, yes.
And if he does better for his family, and I do better for my family,
Well, that's better for both of us.
that means the community is
now
now
moving ahead.
moving ahead.
Well, that's what we want.
And that's what we want.
52nd, yeah.
Yeah. And I keep telling people, I said, don't tell me you saying, well, I vote for him. So your concern in your community is not valuable to you. Your concern in your constituency that you see is a hindrance to others is not valuable to you.
Yes.
So you're going to just sit down and just let the parliamentarian just go. And when you ask, he say, well, no one say nothing.
Yes.
I always remember that one of our former prime ministers said it in his speech. I didn't know we still had outside toilets. And I was like, where do you live?
Where do you live? Yes.
In your constituency.
In his constituency.
And I said, you did not
know.
Go and check. And you came out of that constituency where they used to have outside
But listen,
toilets.
there was one who also said he did not know that the people were hating that much. He got so aloof from his people that he didn't realize and understood to the extent at the end of his term how much pain and suffering his own people were going through. He said that, I heard with my own ears from that particular former MP, Prime Minister. Now we're going to go to, I think the show is going to open right now. Brother Cartwright, put in your last word, please.
Well, what I would like to see is this, that in this dispensation,
Yes.
I would like to see us have more dialogue with our parliamentarians.
Yes, we do.
And then you keep a mind record of their way, how they handle situations that you bring to the table.
That's a good
And
point.
if you see that they have not fallen it up, you have that power, which is that electoral power.
Yes, you do.
And you use it when the time comes. Don't tell nobody.
Don't have to tell them nothing.
Because when you go in the booth, what they tell you, mark your X. Only you one in the booth.
Only you one in the booth.
And that's the power.
That's the power right there, yes. Okay. Thank you, Brother Cartwright. We appreciate you coming. And of course, Thursday is your day. So I had to hold it till you come. This has been Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. We'll have open line tomorrow. Here, Brother Cartwright, if you want to come tomorrow, I'll let you come tomorrow if you so desire.
Okay.
We'll have open line tomorrow 2 to 4 on the Global Radio Network. This is your host, Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. We'll be back tomorrow.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show